But he has a clear history of fetishizing trans men and also being very inappropriate towards minors.
Hearing those things that Ava said about me, really shocking, and it really hurts.
Well as notice how Colton's encouraging a child to send him pictures of themselves.
Now before we go into it and delve into the very abnormal stuff that we're going to be talking about today, I would like to make a quick little announcement. That being, we hit 30,000 subs, as you can see on your screen. I think it's an insane milestone, and we've hit it in a very short amount of time in my opinion, especially since I only started getting traction since very late May of this year. The next two things that I want to say is that I only have 2 social media accounts aside from YouTube, and that is an Instagram and a Twitter. Multiple people text me on Instagram sometimes, just, you know, inspirational stuff, or someone telling me some very wacky and dark secrets. But there are a handful of you who keeps texting that account saying, is this the real Underflow? I'm going to have my Insta and my Twitter linked in the description down below if you want to follow it, instead of having to sit there and scratch your head saying, is this the real person or not? So without further ado and my rambling over, I think it's about time we get right into the video. Now what you're seeing on your screen right now is a person who used to go by the name of ClapDaddie on TikTok. He was a very big content creator in the time of 2019, very late 2019 and very early 2020. They were a prime partaker and one of the biggest people on the trend in 2019, the mafia trend on TikTok, where people would dress up in suits and go into like a black and white filter and then do stuff that they think the mafia would do or something. In my opinion, it was a very rather corny, you know, fucking trend. The trend always came off as like, you know, we're the mafia, you need to be intimidated by us, we're the big dogs on the block, but I can never really get scared by the Michelin Man that you always see on the right part of your screen. So out of nowhere in very, very early 2020, ClapDaddie was introduced to a brand new part of drama, one that he was finally involved in, where a TikToker by the name of Ava Lee made 4 parts of a video calling him and another TikToker out. But today we're not here to talk about the other TikToker, today we're purely here to talk about ClapDaddie. Also real quick, I'm going to refer to him as Colton for now on, his actual name, because I'm tired of saying the word daddy. The next clip I'm going to show you is Ava Lee calling Colton out.
So we're going to move on to Colton. Colton is a bit trickier because of the type of people he's chosen to engage with, but he has a clear history of fetishizing trans men and also being very inappropriate towards minors. I've heard several first-hand accounts of minors interacting with Colton and Colton saying sexual things to them, being flirty with them, or just being otherwise just very inappropriate towards them. And all these minors also happen to be trans men. And in my experience with Colton, he's just very manipulative. He has a very nice persona, but there were points in the week where he was just talking shit about everyone behind their backs.
So once Ava here called out Colton, the entire TikTok mafia trend followers burst into flames, a new controversy was sparked, adding a lot of drama, views were doubling and totaling, people were bamboozled, didn't know which side to follow. Right after Ava's video, multiple younger trans folk came out and stepped out to say and talk about their experiences that they had with Colton. Now before we go any further, you're probably wondering how old Colton is when this took place. When this took place in late 2019 to early 2020, Colton was 22 years of age, talking to 15, 16, and 17-year-old young trans folk. Now, after multiple allegations behind Colton's name came out of multiple people stepping forward and talking about their terrible experiences with Colton, the one thing that we were lacking was tangible evidence and stuff that we could actually see of him being a terrible person. Then, a TikToker by the name of One Guy's Opinion came out with a video of showing multiple screenshots from about 4 different people with allegations towards Colton. One Guy's Opinion made a very good 2-minute 30-second video on it. I will show you that now, but I will interrupt it sometimes to talk about some things or explain some things.
Of what Colton did, I'd gladly go after him. Well, when people are telling the truth, proof comes in quickly. Colton, who's a 22-year-old adult man who likes to use his influence on TikTok to talk to children, had a 16-year-old child come up with screenshots from Discord conversations with him. What you need to pay attention to is the grooming behavior, saying things like, "You shouldn't leave me." A child is going to have an emotional reaction to that and suddenly start caring about the person who's grooming them, as evidenced by, "Are you okay though?" There's more convo.
I thought it would be only necessary to read you off one of the screenshots from here, at least 2 of them. In this screenshot, Colton and the person here are arguing over who's better looking. Colton says, "I'm glad, but you look way more handsome." And then Colton also says, "No, you are handsome" here, just completely arguing back and forth over who looks better. The situation is extremely scary and nasty when you think about it. Colton's using his 1.6 million follower fan base to get in touch with these very small TikTokers and just talk to them and try to, pamper them into the point where they think that this is an okay thing to do.
And more conversation. And more conversation. And even...
In this screenshot too, he out of nowhere just runs out of conversation and resorts to saying you're adorable and handsome and shit like that. It's very obvious that, there's two things going on here. This guy is just downright creepy and being a, predator, and the other one is that he has no charisma whatsoever and cannot talk to anybody.
more conversation spanning over several days. The kid providing the screenshots is in Europe, and notice the cell phone company. Wouldn't you know, they only serve European countries, meaning no kid in California or Texas faked this. And the biggest piece of proof is his 4-digit unique number, which I won't share until I get screenshots from other kids. He did this to multiple kids. Another child on this app who's been sharing their story over the past few days has provided me a screenshot of ClapDaddie's Discord username, and the ID numbers match. Again, I will not show that number until I receive another confirmation from another kid. This was the child that Colton was messaging back when he was 16. Here's some of their conversation on Discord.
In this screenshot, it's a 22-year-old man talking to a 16-year-old. He goes, "Dude, you look so fine," and then they respond with, "I kind of fix them, but not well." He then goes, "Lucas, you look fine, ha ha." The person responds with a "well, thanks," not even typing out the word thanks, just, kind of giving them very short responses. I think that's a very good social cue to say that, they're not very interested in you, to which Colton responds, "You and your flannels, you have never taken a bad selfie."
Discord, notice the dates of the conversation matches the other victim, as well as notice how Colton's encouraging a child to send him pictures of themselves. Further conversation, and further.
In this screenshot alone, it proves my point earlier of how Colton would use his position of power and higher authority with having 1.6 million followers to lure younger people into talking to him. Colton, who was at the time the head of the mafia trend, he was collaborating with some of the biggest people on the app at the time who were technically bigger than him in terms of following, yes, but he was the person who was leading the trend, doing the most on it and getting the most views on it from what I can remember. Colton then hits him with a "you are adorable." They respond with something that I'm not going to say, but it is 3 letters, being UWU. I'm sure that you could say that to yourself or think about it. Colton then goes on to say, "You need to make a mafia," kind of saying you need to make a mafia-style TikTok and that I will duet you. That basically shows that he's using the position of power and that somebody like them, who didn't have a lot of followers at the time, would have somebody like Colton at the time, the leader of that trend, duet them. That's just another way Colton would duet people to show his authority and make people who are much smaller than him feel special that they would be duetted by somebody so popular.
Conversation where ClapDaddie mentions to this child that he will duet him. The message was sent on September 27th. And look who duetted that same child 3 days later. So be sure and let me know how these Discord messages are faked. There's one more kid I'm waiting for confirmation on, and then I'll share the unique ID number showing how 3 kids magically have the same ID number and conversations during the same time from the same person. Proof sure does get found quickly when people are telling the truth. Here's the ID number from the first kid, the second kid, and now the third kid. So we got 3 kids under the age of 18 who all have been having conversations with the same person on Discord with the same ID number. The same ID number and person saying that they'll do a duet, and 3 days later, ClapDaddie does the duet. The same account that answers to the name Colton and keeps calling children handsome. The same account that likes to send pictures from below the waist to children that are underage. And have tons of phone calls with. Tons with children. And again, "Give me a second, cutie." And again, answers to the name Colton. And this is the 17-year-old kid they were talking to. A very clear pattern of behavior with children.
Colton would then go on a 7-part response to where he would just show multiple screenshots of him and his last boyfriend. Now keep in mind, he was basically incriminating himself, saying that, they were dating at the time and that they were in love, but he was 22 and they were 16. Showing all 7 parts of, his first initial responses to the allegation would just make this video way too long and it would make it very uninteresting for you, so I'm going to do this. In the description down below at the very bottom, there's a video on YouTube that I will link in that description, and that will lead you to his full 7-part initial response if you want to watch that and learn about it and just like see, you know, all of it on your own. But what I am going to show you is Colton's like final apology he made on TikTok before ultimately getting banned on that and leaving social media as a whole on multiple different apps. Now, I do need to make it readily apparent in this, you know, so-called apology, and this is obviously no good apology whatsoever. All you're going to see him do is victimize himself, saying that, you know, he really wasn't in the wrong and everything he did was just in the full love and support of the trans community. In the videos that you're going to see him talk about the person who initially called him out, Ava Lee, talking about how, you know, he's going to be the bigger person and doesn't want any of his non-existent fans to go ahead and start attacking them because he's the bigger person. He has no ill will towards that person. It is just one big heaping pile of redirecting blame, not taking accountability for your actions, victimizing yourself, and acting like all you ever did was try to support people and love people.
Hearing those things that Ava said about me, really shocking, and it really hurts. I've done nothing but love and support everyone. I've done nothing but help people. Yes, I have friends who are trans, who are younger, but I also have friends who are trans who are older, and because I support the trans community. I've done nothing but uplift people and help people, and it hurts to hear these things that Ava said. I'm not gonna go bash on Ava. I'm not gonna go tell people to go whatever with her. This is probably why every day I just slowly start not wanting to do TikTok anymore. And this is probably why I'm going to quit TikTok soon, because of this toxicity and lies being spread. Said, I would like to make an apology to anyone who I've made feel uncomfortable or made them feel like I was being malicious towards them. I am sorry. That was never my intention. I wanted nothing but the best for you guys. And if you can come and talk to me personally so we can have a civil discussion on what I did wrong, thank you.
See, Colton, I don't know how to tell you this because I thought it was just really basic common sense. All those people that you did terrible things to obviously don't want to try to have a one-on-one civil conversation with you anymore because of the terrible things that you did. And then you sit there and go on to deny all the things that you've done, not take accountability for the actions that you did. See, Colton, there's a very easily distinguishable line between right and wrong, and you were on a very far side of wrong here. I mean, you tried to have minors meet up with you at a hotel that you said you would pay for. Not only that, there were multiple things where people said that you were just a hefty manipulator. Colton, you were also alleged to be a heavily bad manipulator, and you would always threaten self-harm if you didn't get your way or if someone would try to leave you. Now that is all I have to talk about today. Like I said before, thank you all for 30,000 subscribers. You all mean the world to me, and I'm trying to work every day to make sure that I can, you know, better my content. Not only that, make more of it in a faster time period. I also have my 2 links to my only social medias in the description down below, that being my Instagram and Twitter. I'm not necessarily active on Twitter. The last thing I think I tweeted about was saying that cosmic brownies aren't very good anymore and I don't enjoy them anymore. But anyway, I hope everybody watching this video is having an extremely good day or is going to have an extremely good night, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.